Guys, good afternoon. Welcome to yet another edition of Metals Mastery 2020. It is July. Mid this pandemic, of course, we continue to surge ahead and believe in the power of what is gold and silver, platinum and palladium, the precious metals. Why do we speak of platinum, palladium, gold, and silver at this opportune time? You may be asking yourself. Well, there's a lot of reasons why. You may not be familiar with this investment strategy. You may not have even known that you could invest it in gold and silver. I'm here to share with you why you can and you might be wise in looking at this, especially at this opportune time today. Allow me to share with you a little bit about myself. Besides, I work in production, the television production. I love the industry. It's a wonderful industry. Due to this pandemic, we've all had to do different things for a while, reinvent ourselves in some ways, and I chose to reinvent myself through gold and silver, platinum, palladium, the precious metals. And I've learned quite a bit, actually. I've learned a lot, and I enjoy it very much. And it's something that I can see myself enjoying for a lot of time. But I'm also here to share with you why you should be interested in gold and silver. And if you want to learn more, simply connect with me, send me a direct message. If you want to get some gold and silver, also please do let me know, because that is what I've been specializing in. It'd be my pleasure to assist you. I give you phenomenal pricing. Anyway, let's get into, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should look into gold and silver, especially at this opportune time. A lot of you may or may not be going outside. I know it's the quarantine time and you have to stay indoors. But if you go to a store, there may be a coin shortage. There may be a coin shortage, and you may see banners that say, listen, you need to pay with exact change. We don't have coins. Or do you have a debit card or credit card? We're going to go plastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is considered in some ways a microcosm of what's going on at a grander scale. The coin shortage just simply represents, number one, folks not leaving their home, their residences, therefore not exchanging the coins, not putting coins in the meters, not paying for sodas at the vending machines, not going, giving to the homeless even. You know, there's a shortage of coins, so there is not a lot of coin going around. That is true for many businesses. A lot of folks are closed. There seems to be a coin shortage. What does this tell us? Number one, I've got some reports that do indicate that this could be leading up to a monetary reform. We could be seeing potentially the creation of a new dollar, or perhaps a complete alteration of the dollar itself. In which case, how does this factor into the picture of gold and silver, you may be asking yourself? Excellent question. And I'm here to share with you that with this speculation, historically speaking, when we look at gold and silver historically, it tends to shine in uncertain times like these. And in these uncertain times, especially with the coin shortage, the currency being a little bit unstable right now in terms of whether we're going to go completely in a different direction, or if we're going to simply continue with this potential extremely large debt that the dollar has accumulated. So coin shortages, it's something to think about as it relates to gold and silver. That is a strong indicator. Coins are becoming more rare, essentially. And when we talk about coin values, not only do we see gold and silver for their metal content, so to say, in this case, gold purity or silver purity level, but we also look at for the rarity level. And listen to that. We look at for the rarity level, and there's a coin shortage. What does that mean? These are things that are getting only more rare. So certainly look into gold and silver for that particular reason. Reason number 2, and you probably have heard this from many other sources, and it may be well aware that this is a situation that has been prolonged, and it has been also with us for a while. It's something that many people have talked about. It's been something that's going on since 2008, 2009. We saw money printing even occur back then. And the amount of money printed that has been issued this year is staggering. You've all seen the headlines, trillions of dollars in stimulus package. You've seen rumors now and confirmations that there may be another stimulus round in the works, and that could be of the same magnitude, if not greater than the previous one. $1 trillion, by the way. To really think about $1 trillion is 1,000 billion dollars. 1,000 billion dollars. 1 billion being 1,000 million dollars. These are large sums that we have to really consider. Our population is 330 million, and it's been quite stable, really. We've gone from 300 to 330 million in a relatively long time. It has not exploded to such extent where we can go from merely a debt that is certainly large. It was already quite big, but now exposing a debt that is greater than 25 trillion is unfathomable. It's difficult to think if you can really pay that off. As a result, the U.S. government, the Federal Reserve, due to the large debt, may not even want to attempt to pay it, and as a result, create a new currency. And if we go back to the coin shortage and new currency, we don't want to get too pessimistic because that would be a very drastic change. But you have to be aware and you have to be ready. And when that time does come, I hope you are seriously considering gold and silver. So that's reason number two, the money printing issue. Of course, as the dollar supply increases, the value of gold and silver will also increase. Simple inflation. Most things will go up in price. As will gold and silver. They're not going to be devalued. I'll tell you that. Not only is silver used for countless industrial applications, gold is too for a couple of applications. Dentistry, you've got gold, jewelry, but for the most part, silver is used quite a bit as well in industrial applications. We kind of talk about solar, we can talk about computers, we can talk about watches. The list goes on for silver. But in terms of gold and silver investment in industrial applications, there's only going to be greater and greater demand. And there certainly are not that many mines supplying the gold and silver, especially with this pandemic going on. The mines have completely taken a stall. So these are materials that are only getting more rare as we speak. That's reason number two, the precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium analysis here. For third reason that I see is when we look at the market. When you want to look at gold and silver from an investment standpoint, if you're going to compare it to something, if you're going to consider something else to invest it in, it will probably be the stock market. And why do we have to look at the stock market? Because ultimately there will be an option to be made. When we talk about an investment, if we take it back from its root origin, it boils down to you have some savings. You have extra funds, hopefully. This is not on a credit card. We're talking about extra funds that you have that you want to put to work for you. And there's going to be decisions to be made. Where do you want to grow it best? If you want to be very active in the investment, or if you want to just sit there and let it do its job, there's two different ways of managing money. And if you have enough, you can try all of them. And gold and silver is simply yet another avenue for you to take your holdings and not only store them, preserve their value, but also have a very real possibility of making a very, very good amount of return, so to say, in a more secure way. Not to mention that it's a little bit less complicated. Really, there's not too much more involvement. You let it do its job and check in with it every couple of years. It's a very, very long-term and short-term as well, possibly, but more of a long-term investment here. And this might be the crux. We have the tipping point that tips it into that next phase. We're at a very interesting point in time. Third reason, an overvalued stock market. We're looking at a nation that has been devastated by a pandemic. And yes, there are certainly a lot of online sales going on, but there is a major portion of the population that is simply not going out as much. They're not investing into the restaurant sector. They're not investing into the mall, the shopping mall, retail, outside on the street. And the purely online sales, generally speaking, do not account for all the foot traffic that has been lost due to this pandemic. So the fact that the market, sure, it hasn't recovered to what it was in 2019, at the height of 2019, we're still, I would say, in about late 2018 period. In fact, that's something that I will check into. But comparatively speaking, gold has been up 20% this year alone. The market is down almost 9% and in a feeble condition. It is not in a, let's get in there and it's going to absolutely bounce. Not to mention, it's an election year. It's bounced back, it's recuperated, it's still not at its high where it was in 2019. Listen, I'm not a 100% financial economist, and I'm not a financial analyst, really. I'm a gold and silver expert and believer that if you look into gold and silver at this opportune time, there is a very strong possibility that you are going to do very well. And it is this, along with the cryptocurrencies that have been heavily talked about. That's yet another interesting asset that has appeared recently, very in the recent decade or so, really, 2012, maybe 2010, 2008, in this at least 20 years. It's a new currency. Gold and silver has been around for thousands of years. Gold and silver, there's something intrinsic, innate about this particular metal, a precious metal, that has enthralled, captivated, and hypnotized the human mind. And now it is at a point where it is more valuable than ever. We're seeing some highs that have never been seen these last 8 years. And as we continue to print trillions of dollars in this great, beautiful nation, logically speaking, the more dollars there are in circulation, there are more dollars now in circulation, the less they are worth in terms of their purchasing power at some point. Why? Because currency is faith-based. Listen to that interesting bit. Currency is faith-based, and when we see an abundance, an oversupply of our particular purchasing tool, logically speaking, the mind believes there is a devaluation of that dollar. There's too much going around. It's worth less in terms of the value that we assign to that paper asset. Gold, however, accounts for that paper asset. Once again, we got to be careful in case there is some sort of monetary reform. We see a new currency. Gold does have to also communicate very closely with that if that does occur. Anyway, these have been the 3 points of gold and silver today. Let me just recap this for your edification. Number one, we talked about the coin shortage briefly. There is a coin shortage going on, an indicator that coins are simply going to get more rare at this point. The coins that have existed right now, they're at a rare point. Coin shortage makes sense. We discussed why there's a coin shortage. A couple of points: people aren't going outside anymore. They're not spending change, parking meters, vending machines. The U.S. Mint, and let's not forget the Mint had to shut down because of the pandemic. Production had to way slow down. Mints around the world and mines around the world have slowed down production. So precious metals at a little bit more rare than usual, to be quite honest with you. That is another reason why gold and silver are going up. A lot to talk about here. We can delve into a deeper analysis of this. But next time we're going to talk about the gold recall of 1933. The gold, some people call it confiscation. I don't like that term too much, but there is a gold recall, so to say, under Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1933. Then we went off the gold standard in 1971. Nixon took us off the gold standard. And let's not forget when gold coins were originally invented in Lydia, Greece. We've come quite a long way in 2020 years, almost a little bit more than that probably. And I'm sure the Egyptians were also using gold. But this is just yet another conversation. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope you've learned something about gold and silver. A lot to talk about when we talk about gold and silver. Today, for example, I had a customer. By the way, if you are seeking to attain some gold and silver, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Phone number is 1-800-576-9355. You can ask for my name, Armando, or you can simply dial that number and say you saw this, and 1-800-576-9355. Please give me a ring. I'd be more than happy to assist you with all your gold and silver needs. Very important right now in this critical stage of American history to be looking at gold and silver. Will it always be this way? There will always be an appetite, I believe, for gold, whether that be in jewelry form, investment form. There's a reason why banks have a lot of gold. Thankfully, the United States is the leading nation of gold reserves, so to say, followed closely by China and several others, but we do have quite a bit of gold, and I hope you enjoy this.